Hey guys, KC Jilly here. It's 11:30 and the sun, it seems like it's changed a little bit around here in my property. I'm gonna take a little look here with you guys and give you a little update on what's happening at the house, but I want you to see how many of my plants are shaded, which usually in Texas is a good thing, but I want sun now, and you'll see what I'm saying. So come take a look. Okay guys, so my Amish paste are behind me, and I haven't done any more trimming on anything. It just, for some reason, I'm guessing they're too hot, even though they're still shaded at lunchtime. I want you to see how shady this garden bed is. I'm going to turn the camera around and show you where the sun hits and where it doesn't. And this is at lunch. All right, so at lunchtime, I'm finally getting a little sun over here. You can see I have my shade cloth. I have to, more for risk of hail than anything. Bubba's corn is growing real good there. At least it's got in the sun, thank goodness. But nothing from there back gets any light till after lunch, and just barely gets any then. Everything's doing okay. I mean, I don't have like major fruit or anything, but I have a little bit, and I haven't trimmed anything else up again. I'm letting the suckers grow out and everything's getting tall. I probably need to put some more ties, you know, some of these little Velcro dudes or something, just to hold things up, but I'm not getting any flowers. And while it's pleasant in here, there's not a lot of wind moving through here, and just not getting the kind of flowers and pollination. I'm starting to add little bits of fertilizer. I've come through here with some foliar stuff, some fish fertilizer to give it a shot. Not that these are just dying, but really looks like I need to pump something to them to get more flowers. And so, I mean, that is a possibility of what can be done here, because the plants, they're tall and they're healthy, but all the fruit is down low and nothing's coming up high. I'm not getting any flowers, and that's kind of bugging me. And I've got the same thing happening here. One of these days I'm going to clean all this area up and get all my junk out of here, but you know, it looks good and healthy, but just no fruit. So got a few tomatoes in here, not the best. Just a little bit of stuff here. Let's see. There's a couple right there. You can see across the way I've got several. It's not just terrible, but it's just not making me real happy. Not producing like out there at the secret garden. A fella gets spoilt on those kind of results. There's the old trumpet vine growing over. Isn't it pretty? I'm trying to do a little air layering. Let me see if I can show you. This dadgum thing got wet the other day, and the whole thing was hanging down here in the yard. Get up in there a little bit. There you are, Peter. Can you guys see it back there? Trying to air layer. I want to steal some of this and get this stuff growing all over my secret garden area out there. I don't care. It can grow wild out there, and hope it kind of helps it disappear and hide in the shadows, but I just think they're so dadgum pretty. The ants sure like them. These strawberries are getting a little size. I need to be wise now. I'm trying to think about this now. This is mostly shade all day long. So from here on out, for the next years to come, this is a good place for like bell peppers and certain things that don't need as much sun. They need sun, but it doesn't have to be direct and hot all day. So I don't think tomatoes are right for this section at all. Maybe just the back row, and then all this way needs to be something else. So see, I'm learning. This is year 2, and that's where I'm at with this. So moving over here, all of this is getting a lot of sun, and I've turned this into kind of my herb garden here. I was picking grass right in here earlier, and I found that some of my basil seed is finally coming back. My regular Genovese or whatever. You can see my beets They're coming. This one's almost golf ball size. A little bit more before I go pulling on anything. My deal, I actually have right here, this stake is marking where I have an eggplant seed planted. I just planted it the other day, so it's to be continued there. You can see my deal's gotten kind of fuzzy. Dead burn it. And there's some thyme growing a little bit. And I've got all this parsley going to seed. Gosh, I want it to seed and die, and then I'm gonna cut it all of it all the way down. And I've got the same thing happening over here with the cilantro. Looks terrible. I've got to lay it up underneath this fig because it's so big. Both of them smother this other type of basil, Thai basil. Here's two of the Genovese that I found growing. I stuck two of them right there. So I'm kind of concentrating my herbs in this area. I just want to get it real full of herbs. It smells good and it's easy to find when I get ready to pick everything. There's another little Genovese coming through there. And you can see my Mexican squash starting to get serious now. It's really spreading out. I have one single onion, I think, left in there that is just about to break all the way over. It's time for that guy to come out. But comfrey's fine. I have not seen any squash on this Mexican squash. This is the first year I've ever grown it. Have no idea what they look like, so I'm kind of excited to see it. I was just given seeds by a friend. Okay, let's come over on this side. The old peach tree is recovering and coming back. No peaches, but I'm leaving stuff alone now, so let's see what happens. You can see back there, my watermelons are starting to come up, but look how shady they are, see? I know they'll grow out here to the sun to me a little bit. They'll come this way. And so I'm trying to give them room to spread out in this whole planter area here. Hopefully they'll be cool. Look, I've got a little buddy here helping me with some of the other critters. A little banana spider or something there. I forget what they call it. I think that's what they call it, banana spider. This comfrey's just come back like a monster. This guy's filling himself back in. Proud of him. This comfrey came back with a vengeance. And I don't recall, let me see if I can sneak down there where you can see a little bit. Those are either Carmen or lunchbox peppers. I won't know till they get a little bigger. And I got the same thing going on right here. Now, after this year, one thing I've also learned about my location is the Bermuda grass wants to take over this section so bad. So I'm gonna get these peppers grown this year, and next year I'm gonna put some cardboard or something down here. And I'm really gonna try my best to really smother it out, but you can see how this stuff grows here. You know, it fills in between the rocks, and here's a good piece of it, you know. Look at that thing. It's growing into my cloth. But you can see how something like that gets out in there and just takes over. And I've been fighting with it and trying to keep it halfway picked, but the truth is, it's gonna win if I don't do something. So that's my plan here. I'm trying to learn how to use the shade and the sun for the right vegetables, if that makes sense. And on year 2 now with my garden, I think I'm finally getting it kind of figured out where everything needs to be. So let's take a look over this way. All right, now I had bad squash bugs were already over here making love on my plants and setting their kids up with retirement plans. They had all kind of all kind of eggs up underneath here. See, I can see some right there. Oh, there's no way I'll be able to focus in on that for you. They're there. But I tried soapy water and I smushed with my fingers. That's why these leaves look so bad from me smushing them dadgum eggs. But I wasn't having any luck, and they were ruining what little bit of zucchini I was getting. So what I ended up using, the only thing that seemed to do it, was permethrin. And I've only put it on one time. I'm trying to not use it. I don't like to use anything on there if I don't have to. But I'm telling you, if I wouldn't have done it now, I wouldn't have had anything. They'd have went ahead and swallowed me up. Now their second generation, I'm sure, is coming. But for a minute, I'm getting a little bit of zucchini and a little bit of squash. And hopefully I'm not killing all the bees using that stuff, because I know permethrin will kill just about all of them. But I felt like it was worth it at the beginning here on these, because these are younger plants. Now those are kind of, they might look big, but these really are pretty young plants. So that's where I'm at on this side of the fence. See if I can peek over here on this other side and show you. All right, so there's an okra. And I have 3 different okra plants growing here. Actually 4. No, it's 3, I'm sorry. Those okra plants will be taller than this soon, okay? And these, I've put these cages here because it does help keeping the fruit off the ground. And I haven't had a bad issue with the squash vine borer before, but the regular old squash bugs eat me up real bad. So just being able to keep this stuff up off the ground where I can see it makes a big difference. All right, so let's keep going, see what else we got. Okay guys, I got the same kind of thing happening right here as I had at the other garden. Shady till lunch. All 3 of these get a little bit more though than the other did. And right now, mostly got all my little stuff over here. You can see all my sun golds coming. I think there's one back there about ready to come. This dadgum Mexican squash is growing over into it, and I'm just gonna let all this stuff hold itself up. See, there's signs, there's critters munching. But got a few. That's pink Berkeley tie-dye. Oh, that is also. So I got a few clusters here at the house. It's just not coming like it is out there where I've got full southern exposure at the secret garden, and that really makes a difference. I can tell it does. So I've got to make the most of my space. I've got some volunteer tomatoes coming up here, and our green beans. We've picked off of one of them. 1 or 2 of these little ones, they're still pretty young, but you know, we got a little bit of beans. And they're fixing to start putting out, and those ones out at the secret garden, man, when they start putting out, there ain't no telling what I'm gonna get, because they are huge. They look so big and healthy. You see the asparagus. Got him over in the corner, kind of tied up against the fence there because he gets carried away and swallows everything else. I can see little volunteer tomatoes down at the bottom there. You see all these little baby asparagus. Next year, I will rob some of those and find another location where it's not going to interfere with everything. And hopefully we'll start another little batch of them. They say they'll go for 20 years. They got deep roots, so the fern's kind of pretty. I would like to use it kind of ornamentally as well, if I can find the right spot. This little patch of strawberries is pretty much put here to get out of the way, but this is not the best place for them either. I don't know. Maybe some of those shadier sections might be okay for strawberries. I'd rather put them there than tomatoes. And here's where my compost pile was, and I can see little basil and a bunch of little tomatoes and stuff. Got plenty of little volunteers there if I want to do something. So let's go see what else we've got. Okay, let's see if I can get a little closer down here. These guys right here are birdhouse gourds. And so I'm trying to, let me get back off now. Back on up off of it. All right, so I'm gonna try, and as they get a little taller, I'm gonna put them on this this arch here and let them grow on up it, okay? Same thing's going on with the China Jade cucumbers. I've got lots of blooms on them. I think this is a pretty good spot for them. They actually are doing okay. They get a lot of sun, they get plenty of water, but they're finally getting up and starting to walk up the fence a little bit. I've got a volunteer tomato and a fig tree here stuffed in. Here's my pomegranate. To be honest, this soil here is good for the pomegranate because it likes it kind of dry, and that's why it got put here. But if you look above the pomegranate, I have all this electrical right here, And so I can never let it get any height. And it's gonna take a little bit of height. So I don't really know what I want to do there at this moment, but I really need to dig it up and find a better place for it. I just got to find that location first. Okay, we got another volunteer and a baby pomegranate down underneath it there, and some Egyptian spinach, and that stuff's just barely doing anything here as opposed to out there at that secret garden. So we'll see what happens with it. It's actually really pretty. It did pretty good in the fall. I guess we will check in here in the greenhouse to see what's happening. All right. So my wife threw some wildflower seeds and stuff in here. So there's some little stuff growing. It's not weeds. I don't know what it all is yet. And this is the giant Marconi. This one's store-bought. I didn't grow it. It's going to be the first year for this guy, and I've never tasted them either. I understand it to be a sweet pepper that gets pretty large, which is cool, because that's where I'm heading. You can see the leftover onions in the back there coming along. And here's some of those volunteers that my grandson helped me pick out of the yard. We're sticking them in here and letting them go. I will say my carrot, this is the one carrot that I hung on to on purpose for this reason. Look, it's almost there. I have not formed it yet. Won't be but just a minute, and I'll have some seed. All right, let's see. My bunching onions, they're full back there. I need to make some baked potatoes, come in here and steal some of them. Got another big onion. Now these strawberries, they ain't playing around. Strawberries are good in the greenhouse, and they make good and they taste sweeter in here. While some things, I don't notice a big difference, with the strawberries I really do. So I think strawberries in the greenhouse, that's what it's all about. You can see my celebrity there. He's coming on up. Another celebrity. See, these got a lot of flowers. They're getting enough sun. That's what I'm telling you. It's a fight. It's do you want flowers and sun, or do you want flowers and burn up? Because in Texas, that's kind of how it goes. All right, and this is the new one to me, the Jolene. As you can see, these guys, they put on pretty nice little clusters. They remind me a lot of the celebrity. They're really uniform and pretty little tomato, but they're all doing okay. You can see back there in the back, there's some more strawberries that are ready. My grandson's gonna like that. And here is a better boy. Got a little fruit coming on him. A little bit of flowers. Here's another better boy. So I'm not void of having any tomatoes at home. It's just, gosh, after being out there, and you can see the system that they've set up on there. And I've got these fans. I got one here hitting this stuff on this side, trying to help pollinate and move some air around. And I took this guy down and put him over here to do something with this side. Now my citrus has got quite a bit of growth. I've got some new limbs on this guy. This is year 2 for it. It's an orange tree. I don't recall. My mother-in-law bought oranges at the local grocery store and threw the seeds in the pot, and that is where these guys came from. They started, so there's no root stalk. Even though it looks a little thorny and stuff, that's not sharp. That's limbs coming. There's no root stalk, no improved root stalk. This is natural orange trees growing here, and they're doing pretty good. This Aunt Ruby's German green, this one's finally getting some flowers, and it happens when I put the fan in. So that's why I'm saying I'm thinking over there. You guys can't tell, but that's where where I first started this video off at, that little shady area where all the tomatoes are growing tall. And I wonder if some air moving in there would help. I think it would help quite a bit. Maybe I could get some flowers and some pollinate going. Here's my Aunt Ruby's German green. There's some more Jolene down there. And here's some more Jolene. I got a bunch of dill getting big up underneath there, and there's a little bit more carrots there in a pot. I don't think they're gonna do anything. I'm just hoping it'll flower as well. So, and I got another helper. You can see him there. My mist system's going off, so I'm gonna get out of here. I pretty well showed you everything anyways. Let's go see what else we got. Okay guys, coming out of the greenhouse, here's my yellow pear tomato. You can tell it's ready to go crazy now. It's about to swallow this guy up and crawl over, and I thought maybe the butterfly vine would beat it and crawl on over, but I have a feeling that dadgum tomato may come this way and smother it. I don't know, but you can see it's producing this yellow pear. There's some of the fruit. I've got my first one's almost ready. Won't be long now. Okay. Now over here I showed you before these, from the other side of the fence I showed you a couple of my okra are coming. I also have some Market More cucumbers, and they're just now getting up and getting going, so I'm gonna stick those guys in that fence and let them cover it up. Hopefully we'll have some pickling cucumbers there. To be honest, we kind of like the zucchini better than the cucumbers, but for pickling, but we're gonna see what's up. Oh yeah, I have this old maple tree. I don't usually throw this in here, but I'm just gonna show you. We planted it some years back. We get attacked when we come check the garden because there is a mama bird that has been raising these guys. It's a red bird. So we try to be careful when we approach this thing because that little tree right there is somebody's house. Now, let's go check out those peppers. All right, guys. Can you see this? There's corn. Now, this is what I'm telling you. After 2 years of gardening, you'd think I'd be smarter than this. I've got all these things that love the hot sun, and they're all in the shade. And the things that could do better in shade, I got them out in the sun. So, before next year's season, I'm gonna get this stuff figured out where I want to put everything. I do these things in necessity when I first stuck all this stuff here and try to use up space, but if I'm gonna get any results, I'm gonna have to take the time to get this stuff out there where it can get the sun it needs. So, anyway, let's take a look at them. So this is a new store-bought mammoth jalapeno. And you can see it's putting on a little bit of stuff. Still pretty young. I could just pull off them peppers and flowers and try to give it a little bit more of a head start, but you know what? It is what it is. I'm gonna let it go. And here's my old shorties. Look at the stalks on them. They look like trees. They're pretty cool looking. This is just a regular jalapeno, little shorty. They're so short, but they're strong. Now, if it was out with a little bit more sun, there's no telling how many peppers I would have already right now. But because I've hid them over here in the shade, they're not doing any good. Okay, so let's come over here. Okay. And some things I don't even know what the heck they are anymore. This one, I think I started growing it last year, and it just has 1 year being overwintered. And I don't even know what it was. I don't think I ever got anything off of it. So it kind of has cayenne looking leaves. I'm not sure. You can see over there, that's my bell pepper. I got a couple of them going. But look how short they are, guys. Can y'all see that cattle panel behind it? That's because I cut them down like slingshots when they're little. And they're little bitty buggers, but they'll still pump out the peppers. And this is the banana pepper. I don't know if it's the hot one or the regular one, but look at that. I mean, the dadgum pepper is half the size of the entire bush. Isn't that cool? I kind of want them bigger, but you know, it is what it is. My other pepper bush, here's another banana. I think it's a banana, I don't know yet. It looks like it, but if you can tell, that fish fertilizer is greening them up. I have been using it here, so hopefully that will make a difference. And my lunchbox pepper over there. He's still a little yellow. Of course, he never sees the sunlight. Now, I also will tell you, this video's turning into me making plans, and I didn't mean for it to be that way, but it is what it is. So that tree right there has gotten pretty decent size, and it's just getting really to where it'd be perfect to leave it alone, except for, can you see my gate right there? When I try to get in here with my riding mower, I tore up my gate right there on the corner a little bit, on this back corner. I didn't mean to, but I just barely have enough room to get through, so I need to widen my gate. Also, that dadgum tree is right in the way. So, this year, see, I've got a hole right there too where the water just puddles. It's no good. So what I'm gonna do is this year, after fall, maybe November, maybe somewhere between November and January, I'm gonna try to cut that dude all the way down. So I'm gonna lose that whole entire tree. It's a pretty good shade tree. That means everything is gonna get more sun over here, okay? And that includes in my alley. And then I'm gonna fill in this low spot because I'm tired of it. And I told my wife already, I'm gonna take this planter and get my sons to help me, even if I have to dump it out and fill it back up. I'm gonna take it, put it in there, over there somewhere where it's shady, get it back in a corner and grow lettuce and stuff in it, instead of out here in the yard in the way. That'll give us better access to the strawberries behind that are in between the elephant ears and the rose bush and the passion vine, all that. Okay, so that's part of the thing. So the yard's gonna change again. These stones are coming up and I will use them somewhere else, but I'm gonna fill it in there with wood chips and make myself a little walkway, a little sidewalk of wood chips, and come back over here to my house. So that's kind of the plan. I gotta do something. This stuff just ain't working. You can see everything has gone to seed. All these lettuces are 20 foot tall, and you know, you can see their little seeds. They'll reseed. That's cool. I'm not gonna sweat it. My grapevines, they're still down there. I don't know if they're doing any good or not. We'll find out in a couple months. But this stuff is making it. It's just so dadgum shady. You can see that grapevine's doing pretty good. Not awesome, but I mean, it was planted last year and it was about as tall as that little limb there. So now it's getting up there. All right, I've got to get rid of that. I can't stand it. So let's go to the last little section over there. Okay, so this little section is at rest. I have not planted anything directly into the ground here. And my wife and grandson cast sunflower seeds. That's why all the sunflowers. But for the year, this guy gets its rest. And I'm really missing it for that sunshine over there. So that's part of why some of that other stuff is planted in the weird places it is. But this volunteer tomatoes growing out of there with those green beans is gonna choke out the green beans, I guess. But all those green beans are doing pretty good in their little pots, and those little volunteer tomatoes that are growing in there, stuff from last year, I guess. You can see my Israeli melons, they're doing okay. They're starting to spread out and vine, and in a minute, I'll move these pots right here and get them out of the way and let those vines grow that way out there into the sun, and I'll hopefully have some little cantaloupe or Israeli melon. That's the plan. Got another volunteer here just growing up through the fence. You can see my potatoes getting towards the end. I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm not gonna get over there and mess around in there, but I got yellow leaves and it's thinning out quite a bit. They've just about reached their max, so I'm really excited. It won't be long now and I'll be in there turning those buckets over and checking out those potatoes. Okay. And then there's another volunteer that grew on its own. So that's pretty much where I'm at here at the house. So I didn't mean to turn this into a future plans video or anything, but I do like to record my situation so I know in the future how to change things to make it better. And this helps me because I'm not journaling and keeping a book like I ought to. Life's pretty busy, but I can do this little phone setup for the moment, and it helps. I've got this to look back on. Now, if the internet goes down or something, and I've got to remember it all, and then maybe I'll get my book out like I should have been doing this whole time anyway. But hopefully you guys learned something from my mistakes, and we'll check you out next time. Probably, what is today? Like the middle of May, so maybe 2 more weeks. I'll show you again at the end of May or maybe 1st of June. And by then we ought to have something to show. So y'all come back and see me.